if you haven't heard the news, something that broke, this would have been a couple or 3 weeks ago, so I'm kind of late to it, but it's a very important news story, and that is that the Pope, the chief cardinal of the Roman Catholic Church, and one of the principal leaders of Christianity, one of its primary representatives in the world, has granted permission, official papal bull permission, to the clergy at every level in the Roman Catholic Church to begin to bless, that's a very technical term, I'll talk about it in a minute, to bless individuals of same-sex attraction. And that's a very technical term as well. We'll talk more about it in a minute. But let's talk about what it means to bless. In the Roman Catholic Church, there's different levels of action that a clergyman can take in regards to his interaction with his congregants or with other individuals, visitors, etc. And a blessing is a specific thing. There's a rite and a specific prayer that is involved, that is pronounced over someone as a blessing. Most of the sacramental devotions involve a specific blessing. Nearly every saint has a specific blessing that is imparted from them or dedicated to them or is inspired by them and so forth. But specifically a clerical blessing is one in which it's not as high as like sacramental invocation, but it's definitely above a simple greeting. It's in this middle ground, and it's something that throughout most of Roman Catholic history was only permitted for people that were members of the church in good standing. In order to be a member of the church in good standing, you had to be confirmed, baptized, and able to receive the sacrament, being the Eucharist, the host, whenever it is offered. And in order to be in good standing means that you must be up to date on your confessions, and as well up to date on your almsgiving, generosity, and up to date is in terms of not actively known to be participating in ritual or habitual sin behaviors, attitudes, or actions. So that's kind of the whole thing. And there's various things that can cause you to be a member but not in good standing. For instance, for a long time, getting a divorce under any grounds could result not only in you no longer being a member in good standing, means that you would no longer be eligible to receive the sacrament or to take holy orders and such, but you also, it could actually result in you having your membership at a specific congregation revoked, or even full-on excommunication. That's just one example. So, by granting this, a lot of people have gotten into just like flame wars about this, that this is the Pope saying that same-sex attracted individuals can get married in Catholic churches, and it's not that. It's not that, because remember, sacrament is up here. That's the reception of holy orders, that's receiving of the Eucharist, that's being confirmed, that is, and also getting married. Holy matrimony is one of the sacraments. A person cannot receive a sacrament if they're not in good standing. A person cannot be in good standing if they are known to be engaged in a active sin behavior, which the Roman Catholic Church still recognizes same-sex sexual intercourse or behavior to be a recognized mortal sin. So you cannot be a member or in good standing, at least as I'm making this video, in the Roman Catholic Church. It's not possible, and so this is the question that is on everyone's mind, that knows anything about Catholic theology and also knows anything about Christian history is that the question of, is this simply a recognition of humanity? Because to be blessed, it was something that could be received by someone who was, let's say, a stranger to a minister or a cleric. If you went to, let's say, you made a journey, you were traveling on vacation in New York City, and you decided you wanted to go to St. Peter's on Fifth Avenue Catholic Church. It's one of the finer, more legendary Catholic churches in the United States, North America, really. You wanted to visit there for a Good Friday service. So it's not your normal haunt, but you are a Christian, member in good standing at your church, wherever you meet. You're just a visitor. A blessing could be imparted to you even though you aren't under strict accountability to the minister who would be imparting it. And that's even without regard to denominational heritage. I, as a Protestant, could potentially be blessed by a Catholic cleric under those circumstances. However, throughout all of Christian history, all of Roman Catholic traditional history, if you were a same-sex individual, which anyone that's been a minister for more than, let's say, a single year, you can spot them. They stand out. And in fact, I think most people can just identify a person who's same-sex identifying, or at least gender non-conforming. It's not that difficult, right? There's not a whole lot of camouflage here. It's pretty easy. You see somebody that's this way, it would have been permissible and even actually under many circumstances required for a cleric under Roman Catholicism and many other traditions to withhold even that kind of ambiguous, anonymous blessing from a same-sex individual. And so, is this, that's kind of the center of my first question, is this just simply allowing the same-sex individual a recognition that they're just a person and that they can be blessed in accordance with, like, in the poetic literature, the Bible, saying that it rains not only on the righteous but also on the unrighteous, that God does at times show his face on those who are engaged in evil and sinful habits, that there's nothing necessarily unique about that. And so, is it just that? Is that just the end of the story? Or, and this is what I'm concerned about, and this is what a lot of people are concerned about, or is this an incremental, like, tiptoe step towards eventually Roman Catholicism granting sacramental rights to those who are same-sex? And the only answer that we have that's valid, based on what we know, is we don't know. We don't know if that's what the goal or the purpose of all this is. It would be within the wheelhouse of Frank the Hippie Pope and the many other processes of him trying to progressivize and his attempts to, in a lot of ways, Protestantize Roman Catholicism, that they might indeed be incrementalizing toward that outcome. It could be. We don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. And so, if that's the case, then we need to recognize that we are dealing with an incremental step towards apostasy on the level of, like, 1500s Roman Catholicism, 1400 medieval Roman Catholicism, where just sexual deviancy was rampant throughout the Roman Catholic clergy. We could be dealing with that. It could be an issue in which the way that Roman Catholicism, with its very shadowy handling of the different abuse scandals, that instead of them trying to own up to it and purge, that instead they're simply going to try to change their policy and endorse the same-sex behavior of its clergy. We don't know. Like, that's the extreme opposite, of obviously. And I'm not saying that is what's going to happen. I'm just concerned. I'm concerned about what this means. And I think anyone that is attentive should be concerned in a similar way. That if it's true that the Roman Catholic Church is in the process of joining, let's say, the Anglicans, who the Archbishop of Canterbury just granted permission to clergy under his supervision to begin allowing sacramental marriage for same-sex couples, and even wrote out specific marital rights for that, even knowing that they may or may not be sexual in nature. That is the Roman Catholic Church, is the Vatican in the process of trying to join in that apostasy. But they don't have the courage yet to commit. I hope that's not the case. I hope that Rome would step back from this and maybe even reverse it, because I don't know what's even of value to gain. Quite frankly, I don't know many homosexual individuals who are unrepentant who would even go to a Roman Catholic bishop, priest, or cleric for a blessing anyway, knowing what the official policy, as well as knowing what the various scandalous issues that Rome has had with abuse and such. Like, I don't know why they would go there if all they want is like an emotional pat on the back. Like, there's so many other options available to them. They don't need Rome for that. They don't need a cathedral for that. And so I don't know a lot of reasons why somebody in that situation would go to a Catholic priest. And so I feel like either this is an empty, worthless, or meaningless gesture, or, and that's almost like the best case scenario, or it's a very dangerous hint towards what they may be trying to do in the future. And I'm fearful of that outcome.